Let's talk to Stephen Wolfe, Director of the Centre for Migration and Economic Prosperity, because the news this morning on the front page of the Telegraph and all other newspapers, Royal Navy backs out of migrant patrols. Home Office told taxi service will end in the new year, even as crossings have doubled. Stephen, a very good morning to you.
Very good morning.
I'm guessing that the problem here is that they were taxi services. I mean, they should have been stopping migrants arriving, but instead they ended up helping them to arrive, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. I think the people smugglers were calling them Uber in the Channel because they really helped their business model. They reduced the risk, they decreased deaths, and they therefore increased income for the people smugglers, because it was very simple for them to know that as soon as the boats were launched, the French Navy would then usher those boats towards the Royal Navy, and the Royal Navy either collected them on board or helped them towards the coast. So they failed in their duty to secure our borders, and they failed in their duty to respond to the Prime Minister and Home Office request to ensure that we saw a reduction in Channel migrants.
Yes. And, I mean, as far as the failed system in the Channel is concerned, I mean, it just seems to be failing even worse with every single day that continues. We've had 20,000, as far as we know so far this year alone, which would suggest that it's going to be probably closer to 40 or 50,000 by the end of the year. We know that in this particular month there's going to be more rapid crossings because the sea is calmer. You know, as long as the weather is reasonably good, there's more and more people arriving. The boats themselves have become, very highly sophisticated ribs. They're no longer these kind of, sort of rickety dinghies. They're massively, well-built boats which are not going to capsize. And despite what people say, it's not that dangerous to cross the Channel, because if 20,000 people have come, very few people haven't made it.
Absolutely. And Mike, you were talking in your previous set about the dangers of Islamists and what can happen to people like Salman Rushdie, and of course Iran. Last year we had 10,500 Iranians apply for asylum coming over from the Channel. They are the largest group of people to arrive in this country, with 78,000 in the past 20 years. And in that time we've seen the rise of the mosques supporting the Iranian regime, as your previous commentator said. So one of the impacts of not having the Navy control our borders, having the border force not ejecting those that are coming, and a government that's failing, is that we're seeing a change in the demographics and numbers in our country that can support reprehensible regimes abroad.
Yes, I think that's absolutely right. And again, we still have this problem in this country whereby we've got plenty of Afghan refugees coming in. I think we still have yet to find housing for about 10,000 of them. We've got people coming from Hong Kong, people who are legitimately seeking solace and comfort in this country. And yet we've still got this open door which seemingly can't be closed.
Yes, and I don't think we're looking at the two candidates for the leadership of the Conservative Party, who have both put out statements saying that they're going to continue with Rwanda, have a real concern about immigration. But when you look at their policies, one of the key issues that's really needed to prevent those who are applying for asylum being rejected and therefore open to be removed is the European Courts of Human Rights. And neither of them have explicitly said that they would remove it from our statute books through the Human Rights Act and withdraw from its application to our court system, so that we just go along the UN Convention on Refugees and treat people much more sophisticatedly and narrowly on being allowed to stay.
Yeah. And the other problem that we've been discovering lately, we've all known about it, but I'm starting to get calls from people in different parts of the country who say that, hotels in their regions are just being closed off altogether. What used to be a kind of community-based place where you'd go and have a party for your 60th birthday or you have a wedding, they're all basically closed for business because they've sold themselves out to Serco or whoever is paying them en masse to house illegal migrants.
Oh, of course. The three big companies, Serco, Clear Houses Limited and Mears Limited, have received or will receive over a 10-year period £4 billion just for what they call long-term accommodation. But because of the massive numbers coming through, they're actually making £6 million a day. And that means that they have the ability to outsource the short-term accommodation into hotels. And those hotels are just thinking they're raking it into the bank, because they can charge a lot more to these companies knowing that the government will pay more. So we're seeing significant profits for those who are profiteering on this side of the channel from a failure of our government to control the channel migrant crossings.
It is absolutely extraordinary, isn't it? I don't think I can think of any other government policy over the course of maybe the last decade that they keep saying they're fixing, and they keep saying they're putting money into, and they keep saying that they're addressing, which is getting worse.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the major reasons for the Brexit campaign being so successful was people believing that this government could control migration and take back control of our borders. There is a deep frustration growing within the country, particularly now, where you can see that there is a real need for proper spending on helping people out through this crisis that we're facing in energy bills and food bills and the cost of living, where they see money being wasted on those who are simply economic migrants coming from abroad seeking a better life. This small island in the north of the world is attracting people from over 120 countries to come here. If it's so bad as people complain about us, why are they all seeking to come here?
Exactly right. And the news from last weekend about the numbers coming from Albania, which is a place you can arrive to these shores from legally if you wish, you know, seemingly still nothing's been done. You know, identifications have been made. The Department of Defence has got a list of people who they know have come here illegally from Albania. Why are they not being deported?
They're not being deported because, quite frankly, another big number for you, Mike, is the 15,000 people last year who failed their asylum applications have not been deported either.
Right.
Nor those the year before or the year before that.
Right.
So we never seem to be able to deport those who even fail the system. So the Albanians who are coming over, and there will be good people in there, but as we know, they're also the criminal element that escape and are now increasing in our prison system as the largest group, or the largest national group, that is actually behind bars. So it's profiteering for people smugglers, it's profiteering for gangsters, it's profiteering for big corporates, it's profiteering for the immigration industry. The taxpayer and communities are the ones who are losing out.
Yeah, it's extraordinary stuff. Stephen, thank you very much indeed. Stephen Wolfe, there, Director of the Centre for Migration and Economic Prosperity.